Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. My name is Hunter, and in today's weather forecast on this Wednesday, June 26th, we're going to be talking about more extreme heat and humidity across parts of the United States that is just relentless over the last several days and will continue to be relentless over the next several days ahead, and rounds of severe weather that does threaten parts of the United States over the next 7 to 10 days. We'll walk you through that, the July 4th forecast, and a new system to watch in the tropics. We'll get to those with the tropical weather update at the end of the video. So thank you all for watching here this morning. If you are new here to Weather on the Go, we do cover North America, including southern Canada, the United States, the tropics. Be sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Like the video if you do like today's weather forecast after the video is over by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those later on today after the video. So let's look here at the ridge of high pressure. This is controlling our extreme heat and humidity across parts of the United States today. And this is centered across Arizona, New Mexico, West Texas, and northwestern Mexico here as of this Wednesday. And this is leading to more heat headlines across the southern U.S. We have excessive heat warnings near the Red River Valley there in central and southern Oklahoma and northwest Texas, and heat advisories in the orange from Oklahoma into Texas, eastward along the Gulf Coast, and then up the eastern seaboard from the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida, all the way up there toward New Jersey, parts of Delaware, and Pennsylvania. We even have red flag warnings out west as well, where we have dry soil and heat building up across parts of Oregon, parts of Idaho, Nevada, California, a lot of these areas as well. And then we have flood watches for monsoonal moisture into New Mexico as well. So a lot going on here. Let's talk heat. This afternoon, temperatures will be into the triple digits across portions of Oklahoma, much of Texas, especially western and northwestern Texas. Here's what the air is really going to feel like to your body as you walk out the door. Here are your heat index values, 110 to 120 range across the Red River Valley down here. So if you live in Oklahoma City, it's going to feel like 113 degrees Fahrenheit this afternoon, 110 in Tulsa, 111 in Fort Smith there, 113 in the DFW area, and 116 in Paris, Texas this afternoon. So make sure to stay hydrated and please stay indoors, folks. This is just some dangerous heat down this way. And this heat did lead to some severe weather and significant tornadoes across Nebraska last night. We had 11 tornado reports stretching from Nebraska east into Iowa yesterday. Tons of wind and hail reports in addition to that, and a lot of those were significant, with winds even over 80 miles per hour at times, hailstones over 2 inches in diameter at times. Some of that even trickled down into Oklahoma there, into the Oklahoma City area with that supercell last night, and across the Amarillo area. Well, look for more of that today because we have more storm energy with all the heat and humidity continuing to build. Here's your storm fuel. The brighter the color, the better the chance for thunderstorms and thus severe weather. And you can see those brighter reds and purples down here across the southern plains into the Red River Valley. That's 4,000 joules per kilogram. You can see some more energy across the mid-Atlantic, the northeast, into the yellows and oranges. That's 2,000, 3,000 joules per kilogram. So there's plenty of thunderstorm fuel out there. The Storm Prediction Center's latest day one outlook does have 3 separate areas for a level 2 out of 5 slight risk of severe weather. The largest area here from the I-95 corridor up towards the Cape Cod region, back through Long Island and New York City, through Trenton, New Jersey, all the way back to Pittsburgh, into Charleston, West Virginia, the Lexington area, and back there towards Cincinnati and Columbus. We'll keep a close eye on that area. Then further south, a mesoscale convective system driving this slight risk across portions of northeast Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, much of southern Arkansas, into Louisiana, Mississippi, and southwestern Tennessee, and then more storms firing off the Front Range from the Nebraska Panhandle and southeastern Wyoming through eastern Colorado, all the way down toward Amarillo, and then even a marginal risk up here into the Pacific Northwest. So just a busy day in general. These storms will be throwing out some hazards, including 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts possible, especially in these yellow shaded colors throughout the United States today. Hailstones are possible. We could see some quarter-size hail, maybe larger at times, especially across the Front Range here. And then there is a small tornado risk. But remember, back in Nebraska yesterday, we had a smaller tornado risk, and we had a powerful tornado move through during the evening hours across central Nebraska. So don't let your guard down, even though you have a 2% chance of tornadoes here from Pittsburgh all the way eastward towards Scranton, into the Poconos here, into Pennsylvania, into northern portions of New Jersey, southern New York State, into Hartford there, New York City, and even parts of Long Island. So don't let your guard down. Rotating thunderstorms will be possible. Here as we go into the afternoon, you can see those storms really starting to fire up in a lot of different zones here. You got the Front Range, you got that mesoscale convective system here, and some loosely organized storms across the Mid-South, and then we have more storms here into the eastern Ohio Valley, around Ohio and eastern Kentucky. Those will press east. As we go into the evening, there's that mesoscale convective system entering in towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Texarkana, Shreveport, Monroe, and eastward toward Jackson, Mississippi. Those could produce some damaging straight-line winds in excess of 60 miles per hour on the leading edge. More supercells off the Front Range. Those will be big hail producers, maybe some rotating storms at times. And then early Thursday morning after midnight, I think a lot of this will start to dwindle as we lose the daytime heating, we lose the instability, and the atmosphere begins to stabilize. But with that said, I think if you see thunderstorms, heavy rainfall will be the transitioning mode from severe weather to heavy rain early Thursday morning. And speaking of the rainfall amounts, looking through your Thursday morning commute, here's the heaviest rains from the I-95 corridor in towards the northeast to New England, down through the mid-Atlantic, eastern Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, down toward the lower Mississippi Valley there, and then the Front Range into the western plains. That's where we're likely to see the rainfall here. The upper Midwest finally gets a break from the rain over the next 24 hours, so that's some good news. We need to dry out. A lot of river flooding up there. Going into Thursday, we have that ridge continuing to move east, kind of elongating further east towards the Mississippi River. We can see more zonal flow in the atmosphere as we go into Friday, and that means a lot of our winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere will be moving from west to east across the United States. So a pretty flat jet stream pattern here. But it's still going to be hot. So Thursday afternoon, this is tomorrow afternoon, more highs into the 80s, 90s, and triple digits across the west and across the south here. Liking the temperatures up here into the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast. A lot of these areas are going to see a nice reprieve from the heat into the 60s and 70s. But look at another yucky day with heat index values across the Red River Valley on south, much of Texas, much of Louisiana here into Florida, coastal Carolinas, and Georgia. Just going to be a yucky day with those triple-digit heat index values pushing up to 115, for example, in toward the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Abilene down to San Antonio and Austin. Same thing as we go into Friday, another yucky day back down here again across Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas and vicinity. We're going to see a lot of triple-digit heat index values. So again, make sure to hydrate across these areas. And if you venture outdoors, find shaded areas, find an AC, an air conditioning room for a short amount of time at least to get away from some of that extreme heat. Now, with that said, we are talking heat, but we are talking a new storm system as we go into Thursday. Low pressure system developing up here across the Pacific Northwest. And as clockwork, as we've seen all June long, this will move up and over, cresting over that ridge, and that's where we're going to have a cold front dragging across the portions of the northern U.S. So the Storm Prediction Center's Day 2 outlook does have a slight risk extending from Montana, the western Dakotas, into northeastern Wyoming, into Nebraska, Kansas, and eastern Colorado here, with a marginal extending back toward the Four Corners region. All modes of severe weather will be in play here, and also a marginal risk of severe weather in the eastern Carolinas on Thursday as well. So Thursday afternoon, this is lightning flash density. This is showing you where thunderstorms will be possible. We have some thunderstorms possible there, maybe a little bit of a lake breeze, an ocean breeze or something like that across portions of the eastern Carolinas that could fire up some storms. But I think the main event will be back here. Clusters of showers and storms, some supercells mixed in there Thursday afternoon. Thursday evening, Thursday night, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, a lot of the same areas we just saw last night getting hit again with severe weather. The cold front low pressure system shifts east as we go into Friday, June 28th. A broad brushed marginal risk in the Day 3 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center across the upper Midwest, back there toward the Central Plains, with a slight risk upgrade for areas like Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, Quad Cities, down toward Kirksville, Missouri, Topeka, in towards the Kansas City area. And this could expand and maybe get upgraded as we do get closer. You can see some storms moving through during the day on Friday. We'll grow upscale and a lot of heavy rain with these as well. Very efficient rainfall producers. So expect severe weather, but in addition, flash flooding. A lot of these areas have saturated soil, so river flooding will continue to worsen. And a lot of those low-lying areas like farm fields, ditches, and stuff like that will start to get very overwhelmed with a lot of this water with saturated soils. Here's the additional rainfall totals Thursday, June 27th. This is for tomorrow into Friday, June 28th. You can see 1 to 3 inches of additional heavy rain across portions of the Midwest, the upper Midwest, and the northern plains, while it's drier further south but hotter further to the south. And speaking of the weekend, this is the last weekend of June. We're going to see more heat continuing across the southern U.S., so that's not going to go anywhere. We still have that. We have a trough up here, though, into the Great Lakes and upper Midwest. That will lead to cooler temperatures for Saturday afternoon. Look at that, 60s up here into North Dakota, Montana, and the northern part of Minnesota there, southern Canada, wonderful temperatures. But all the heat to the south with that heat ridge. Look at all the widespread triple digits here from Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, all the way east to the east coast of the United States. Saturday afternoon, cold front moves in a little bit further southeast on Sunday afternoon, but still widespread triple digits from Texas, Oklahoma, eastward towards Virginia, the Carolinas, Florida, and maybe even up there and towards the mid-Atlantic coast as we go into Sunday afternoon as well. Precipitation this weekend on Saturday, low pressure up here into portions of southern Ontario, cold front extending down through Michigan, Indiana, and southern Illinois. Could be a focal point for additional storm activity on Saturday. It is too uncertain right now to see whether or not we'll have severe weather, but I imagine maybe an isolated severe storm or two will be possible. And then as we go into Sunday, that will become more diffuse with the cold front pushing further south into that ridge and kind of washing out. But there could still be some heavy rainfall in places like Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville, maybe even up here through the Appalachians, the Poconos, and then up there into the northeast, New England, and of course southeastern Canada as well, with high pressure building in behind that into the upper Midwest. Rainfall amounts this weekend pretty heavy across southeastern Canada, Quebec into southern Ontario, but also portions of the northeast, mid-Atlantic, southeast. That's where the rainfall will be. Very dry out west and toward the middle of the country for the weekend. Now finally here in the long range, the July 4th holiday weekend and the week of July 4th, we're just going to continue to see the heat across the southern U.S. here, and then a trough up there toward the southern Canadian prairies. And that difference is going to provide a storm track we'll talk about in just a moment. But more heat, importantly, temperature anomalies well above average from California, the Sacramento Valley, eastward through the Four Corners, into the central southern plains, the southeast, the Ohio Valley, into the mid-Atlantic as we go through from Monday, July 1st through Friday, July 5th. This takes you through even the July 4th time frame on that Thursday, July 4th. Here is the jet stream over the top, the crest of the ridge, and you can see that this is a highway for storms. So more active weather, and unfortunately, again, in the same areas, the eastern Dakotas, much of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and then drier underneath that unless we get like a little bit of an ocean breeze there. Then we have a little bit of a frontal boundary setting up for the Carolinas and Georgia, maybe some rainfall. But again, then there's that monsoonal moisture moving up into the Four Corners region and then dry underneath that. So just a lot going on there. Looking here at the National Hurricane Center's tropical weather outlook, they do have two low probability areas to watch. This one over here into the Bay of Campeche is dwindling before our eyes, running out of time because it's going to be moving over land for a period of time, and then very short residence time over the Bay of Campeche. I know the water temperatures are warm down here, but really that's probably not going to become a considerable system. The next system of note is over here into the main development region. Now this just came off Africa a couple days ago, so it's going to take a long time, probably another week, before we see this reach the Lesser Antilles here, and that has a 30% chance of development over the next 7 days. Let's look at the ensemble guidance. The EPS ensemble, the European ensemble guidance, does a very good job at depicting this. Here is system number 1 that has that 20% probability there, entering into Central America and then into the Bay of Campeche by Friday, Saturday time frame. Here's our second system. As we go into Sunday, you can see that develops a little bit further off to the east of the Lesser Antilles here, and for the second system, the first system kind of dwindling, so we're really not worried about that one. But the second system may cross over the Lesser Antilles. We'll have to watch you down here toward Puerto Rico, toward the Dominican Republic, and also the Eastern Caribbean by early next week on July 2nd. And then where it goes from there is extremely uncertain. This could curve north toward the Bahamas and across the Greater Antilles. This could continue on a westward track here through the Caribbean and maybe even down towards Central America. So very uncertain here. The cone of uncertainty is far and wide by the time we get to Thursday, July 4th. But just know, here are some factors that are helping this system continue on its path: is the warm sea surface temperature temperatures here. This is your sea surface temperature anomaly map, very much above average. The entire Caribbean is very, very boiling with water right now, so that is going for this system. But what is going to hinder the development, or at least the fast development of any system here, is the Saharan dust. Now, we still see that crossing from Africa through the main development region into the Caribbean here, and that continues while this system is in the Caribbean in Thursday, July 4th. So I think, if anything, yes, you could have the warmest water temperatures out of anywhere on Earth, but if you have Saharan dust and a lot of it and a lot of wind shear down here, you're just not going to see a formidable system. So we're going to continue to monitor that over the next several days. And the good news is the Eastern Pacific Ocean is quiet as can be. Next 7 days, very quiet. We'll keep an eye on this tropical weather season in the Eastern Pacific Ocean, but for right now, very quiet, and that's some good news. Thank you all for watching. If you did like today's weather forecast, give it a like down below by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. Also, subscribe to the channel as we cover southern Canada, the United States, the tropics. We'll have another weather forecast video out for you tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday out there.